Good morning, ma. In this unit 2, we completed only turtle module. Next topic. Next topic in this case study, already we know about turtle model, ma. Next. Already we complete this one to draw a right angle, add this line straight program after creating Bob and before calling wait for user here. In this wait for user, we give the forward, FD means forward, LT means left, FD means forward. Here in this first line tells the Bob to take 100 steps forward. 100 steps forward here. In this second line tells him to turn left. The second line tells him to turn left here. When you have to should see the Bob move east and then north and leaving two line segments behind here. To draw a right angle triangle, you have to add these lines for this program. Here next topic is Python. In this Python programming language, we are having looping statements are repetitive statements are iterative statements. In this Python programming language, we are having looping statements are iterative statements are repetition statements. These are three points here. In this Python, we are having looping statement. It is also called as iterative statements. It is also called as repetition statements. Here in this Python, it supports the basic loop structure through iterative statements. Here in this Python, it supports the basic loop structure through iterative statements. Here iterative statements, these are decision control statements. These are used to repeat the execution of a list of statements. Here in this iterative statements, these are the decision control statements and these are used to repeat the execution of a list of statements. Execution of a list of statements. Here this language supports the two types of iterative statements. This language supports the two types of iterative statements. Here these iterative statements called the means first while loop and second one is while loop, second one is for loop. These are the two types of statements. These are the here iterative statements. What is meant by iterative statements means here in these iterative statements, these are used to repeat the execution of a list of statements. These are used to repeat the execution of list of statements. It is depending on the integer expression. It is depend on the integer expression. Here, what is meant by the iterative statements means these are used to repeat the execution of a list of statements. Execution of a list of statements. It depending on the value of integer expression. Depending on value of integer expression. That is all the here iterative statements. Here next these are the two types of iterative statements. First one while loop, second one for loop. First one while loop, second one for loop. First one. In C language already you know these looping statements. In that C language we are having a while loop, for loop, next do while loop. There are three types of loops in that C language. Here in Python language we are having these two types of loops. First one while loop, second one is for loop. Second one is for loop. Here next one. Next here in this Python supports the here loop structures. These are through iterative statements only. Here first one, while loop. Here while loop means this while loop provides a mechanism to repeat one or more statements while a particular condition is true. Here it provides a mechanism to repeat one or more statements while a particular condition is true. That's all here. Here this is the syntax of the while loop. Here we give the while of expression. Here while of expression. Next statement 1, statement 2. Here while of expression, statement 1, statement 2, so on. Statement n. Here while of expression, statement 1, statement 2, so on. Statement n. Here this is the syntax for while loop. While of expression colon. While of expression colon, statement 1, statement 2, so on. Here these type of statements may be a single statement or block of statements. Here these statements may be a single statement or a block of statement. This is called here in this syntax. This is the syntax of the while loop here. Here this in this syntax, here the condition is tested before any of the statements in the statement block is executed. Here before in the while loop, the condition is tested before of the statement block is executed. Here if the condition is true, only then the statements will be executed. Here if the condition is true, here only then the statements will be executed. Here otherwise, if the condition is false, the control will jump to the next statement. Here statement y. Here if the condition is false, the control will jump to the next statement. That is immediate state outside the while loop statement, outside the while loop block. Here this is in this while expression, we give some conditions in that expression. Here this condition is true, this statement is executed, but the condition is false. The condition will false. The control will jump to the another statement. Here means here the immediate statement outside the while loop, block. Here the statements may be a single statement or a block of statements. Here these are statements may be a single statement or a block of statements. Here the condition may be an expression. Here this condition may be an expression, and true is an any non-zero value. Here this loop iterates while the condition is true. Until the condition is true, the loop iterates. The condition will be true. Here the while loop, it is also referred as top checking loop. Here the while loop, it is also referred as top checking loop. Here next, top checking loop is also referred as top checking loop. Next, here this is the flow chart of while. This is the flow chart of while here. This is the flow chart. It is clear that here while expression statement, we give the condition. If the condition is true, the condition block is executed until it is repeated, until the condition is repeated here. Here, if the condition is false, it terminates the program. It will be executed outside of the loop. The condition will be false, the statement will be executed outside of the while loop here. Here in this flowchart, it is clear that we need to constantly update the condition of the while loop here. Here it is the condition which determines the loop will end. Here it is the condition, the while determines the when condition of the while loop. Here it is the condition which determines the loop will end. Here the while loop will execute as long as the condition is true. The while loop will execute as long as the condition is true. Here, if the condition is never updated and the condition never becomes false. Here, if the condition is never updated, and the condition never becomes false. Here, then the computer will run at infinite loop. And the computer will run into an infinite loop. And the computer will run into an infinite loop. It is never desirable. It is never desirable here. Here the key point of the while loop is that the loop might not ever run. Here the loop might not ever run. Here when the condition is tested and the result is false, the loop body will be skipped. The loop body will be skipped here, and the first statement after the while loop will be executed. Here the key point of the while loop is that the loop might not ever run. Here when the condition is tested and the result is false, the loop body will be skipped and the first statement after the while loop will be executed. Here next. For example, we take the while loop. Here, for example, we take the program print first 10 numbers using while loop. Here we give the first program print first 10 numbers using while loop here. Here in this while loop we take I take I equal to 0. You have to print first 10 numbers using while loop. Initially I take I equal to 0. While I less than or equal to 10. While here I equal to 0. While I less than or equal to 10. Print I, comma, end equal to double quotes. Here we give the end equal to double quotes here. Here in this here I equal to 0 while I less than or equal to 10. Print I, comma, end equal to double quotes here. I equal to I plus 1. You have to increment the I value here. Here output is, we get the output is up to 0 to 10. Here I equal to 0. For I equal to 0, the condition I 0 less than or equal to 10. 0 less than or equal to 10. Here colon is there. I missed it here. Colon is there here. Colon, not semicolon. Colon. While I less than or equal to 10 means colon. Here print I comma end equal to double quotes open, double quotes close. Here I equal to I plus 1 means you have to print the first 10 numbers, 0 to 10 numbers. Here I equal to 0 less than or equal to 10. Condition true. That's why first you have to print the value I value 0. Next I equal to I plus 1 means 0 plus 1. I equal to 1. Next you go for I equal to 1. 1 less than or equal to 10. Until the condition is being satisfied, until the loop is repeated. The loop is repeated here. Here at 1 less than or equal to 10. Condition true. After that we get the I equal to 1. Take the value 1. You have to print the 1. Next I equal to I plus 1 means 1 plus 1. I equal to 2. Next 2 less than or equal to 10. 2 less than or equal to 10. Condition true. Next 2. I equal to 2. You have to print I value 2. Next, 2 plus 1, I equal to 3. Next, 3 less than or equal to 10. Condition true. Condition true. That's why you have to print the I value 3. That's why we got the I to 0 to 10 values, up to 0 to 10 values. Here, for example, here I gave here I less than 10, not equal to I less than 10. On the time, we get the output is 0 to 9 only. 0 to 9 only. Here, I equal to 9. 9 less than 10. Condition true. 9, you have to print the value I equal to 9 here. Here next, I equal to 9 plus 1, 10. Got the I equal 10. Here 10. 10 less than 10. 10 less than 10. Condition false. Condition false. And the program, the condition for when condition is false, on the time the loop will be terminated. The loop will be terminated. Here I use here AND operator. Here I use here AND. End. What for we are using the AND means by using this AND separator. This is a separator. With the separator we use AND. There will be no space between two values. No space between two values. On the time we are using the AND. End. By using AND here, by using AND separator, we give the space. We give the space between that values. We give the space between that values 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 like that. Here, for example, it take here in the double quotes or single quote, say no difference for that statement. No difference for that statement. Here n equal to single quotes. Quote open, single quote close. That statement is also same like this only. Here there is no difference of that these two statements here. Here n equal to double quotes open gas. We have to give space so that we have to give the double quotes close. Here by using this AND separator, there will be no space between the two values. Means here we give the space 0, 1, 2, 3. Some space here, some space. Means here we give the end equal to /t. Here end equal to in double quotes. We give the /t, /t. And the term /t means we give the separator. We give the values 0 to 1, 1 to 2. We give the space. Means the tabs, one tab space we give. Here 0 to 1, one tab space. 1 to 2, next, the next space. Likewise, we have to use the AND separator here. Here we give the AND equal to \n. We give the AND equal to \n. \n means next line. \n means next line. Means it prints 0 to 10 vertically. 0 to 10 vertically. Here next. Here another point is the top checking loop. Top checking loop. Why it is called the means here this condition control is placed. This condition control is placed as the first line of the code. Here this first line of the code. Next, if the control condition evaluates to false, the condition control evaluates to false here. False. Then the statements enclosed in the loop. Here are never executed. That is called the here top checking loop. Here the while loop it is also referred as top checking loop. Why it is called the top checking loop means here this condition control is placed as the first line of the code. If the condition control evaluates it false, here then the statements enclosed in the loop are never executed. That is called the here. That's why we call the while loop is also referred as the top checking loop. Here next. This is the example while loop print up to 10 numbers. Next topic is the infinite loop. Next topic is the infinite loop here. Here, infinite loop means a loop becomes infinite loop if the condition never becomes false. If the condition never becomes false here. A loop becomes infinite loop. A loop becomes infinite loop if a condition never becomes false. If a condition never becomes false here. Here, when using these while loops, because of the possibility that this condition never resolves to a false value. Here, when using while loops, because of the possibility that this condition never resolves a false value, Here, this results in a loop that never ends. This results in a loop that never ends. Such a loop is called the infinite loop. Here, this infinite loop, maybe it is useful in client-server programming. In infinite loop, it is useful in client-server programming. Here, when server sends to the server needs to run continuously so that client programs can communicate with it as and when required here. Here, an infinite loop might be useful in client server programming where the server needs to run continuously so that client programs can communicate with it as and when required here. Here, a loop becomes infinite loop if a condition never becomes false. Here, a loop becomes infinite loop if a condition never becomes false here. When using while loops, because of this possibility, this condition never resolves to the false value. Here, this results in a loop that never ends. Such a loop is called an infinite loop. Here, in this infinite loop, it is useful in client-server programming. Here, where the server needs to run continuously so that client programs can communicate with it and when required here. Next. Infinite loop means the loop becomes infinite. Condition never becomes false. For example, this is the example program for infinite loop. For example, I take here var equal to 1 means variable equal to 1. Variable equal to 1 here. While variable equal to 1. Here, while variable equal to 1. Here, this means while variable equal to 1, this is the expression mark. Here, I give you the comment line here. This constructs an infinite loop. In next line, we got here num. Num means num. Next line, here. This is the next line. Num. Num means number here. Num equal to raw input. Enter a number. Already know about raw input. Means we have to enter a number and keep here. I give the input. Means here Python 2 version we are using raw input here. In Python 3 version, no need to use raw input here. Just directly we enter a number, give the number equal to and enter a number like that. Here, var equal to 1. Var equal to 1 means variable equal to 1. Already we gave this variable gave the 1 means how to store the var equal to 1. While var equal to 1, var double equal to 1 here. Var double equal to 1. Here this here number equal num equal to raw input enter a number. Here print you entered what you entered this number. We print the number here. Next line is print goodbye. Here goodbye. You can hear this the output is here enter a number. Use the enter a number. I gave here 20. Your entered number is 20. Next, after that, next we'll ask the next time we ask enter a number 29. You enter 29. Okay, now here like it continuously goes, it continuously running. The condition becomes never false. This condition never becomes false here. That is called here infinite loop. The condition becomes never false. Condition become never false. That is called infinite loop here. For example, here you got here enter a number 20, 29, 3 like that. Na? Enter a number between. You have to get the value, means this is the keyboard interrupt. This is the keyboard interrupt. Enter a number. Enter a number. Enter a number. You have to enter some number here. Have to enter some number here. 3. Enter 3. The never becomes false here. The never becomes false here. But here enter a number. You not enter number. You give some string. On that time you got the error here. Trace bar. Most student call last for test.py. Here test.py means here what is meant by test.py means we have to save. We give here the file name is test. We have to save this program .py. Python programs have to save the extension file name for Python .py. .py. Yeah, okay now. Next, here in this line, this condition false. On the time only this you have to print goodbye. Print goodbye. Here variable equal to 1. Variable while variable this condition is never becomes false here. This when this condition is false, on the time only you have to print goodbye. Have to print goodbye. Okay now. That is the example program for infinite loop. Next. Next, here by using else statement with while loop. In while loop, by using else statement also we use Python programming language. But here language here in Python programming language, statement is while loop. Here in this Python programming language, it supports the else statement associated with a loop statement. Python supports to have an else statement associated with a loop statement here. Loop statement. Here in this, if the else statement is used with the while loop, the else statement is executed when the condition becomes false. When the condition becomes false. Here in this, the combination of else statement with while loop that prints a number as long it as less than 5. Otherwise, else statement gets executed. Here in this Python programming language, to have an else statement associated with a loop statement. Here, if the else statement is used with while loop, the else statement is executed when the condition becomes false. When the condition becomes false here. Here, the combination of else statement with an while statement that prints a number as long as it less than 5. Otherwise, else statement gets executed. Else statement gets executed. Here, next, the syntax of while statement using else statement means these the syntax while expression statement 1, statement 2, so on, else statement 3, statement 4. Here, in this while the condition become true, on the time these statements are executed. Here, but next the condition become false. Here, while this condition become false, here else statements will be executed. Else statements will be executed. Here, next. This is the This is the example for the while statement, while statement using else statement. While statement by using else statement ma. Here first this is the example. Count equal to 0. Here for example you have to count a given number. You have to count a given number. Here, count equal to initial I gave count equal to 0. Here while count less than 5. Here count is less than 5. Here next I gave the count less than 1, else is not less than 5. Here 5 in while loop here I use on the output 0 to here on the false loop permitted. That's why we are using the in Python programming language by using statement equal to 0 less than 5. Here print count is less than 5. Here we give the count equal to count plus 1. Give the count equal to count plus 1. Here else print count is not less than 5. It's not less than 5. Here for example here how we run the program, how we run this program, count equal to 0, 0 less than 5, condition true. That's why 0 is less than 5. Next count plus 1 means 0 plus 1 means 1. 1 up to 4. After that we get the value count equal to 5. Count equal to 5. On the time count equal to 5 means here 5 less than 5. 5 less than 5. The condition become false. The 5 less than 5. The condition become false. That's why we got the else print count. Count we got the 5. 5 is not less than 5. 5 is not less than 5. The program is run like this. Here next. That is about the while condition using else statement. Next. Next loop statement is for loop. Next statement loop is for loop ma. Here for loop, Python has for loops. Here it differs a bit from the other like C or Pascal. Some of the difference here in Python programming language, for loop is used to iterate over the items of any sequence. Items over an items of any sequence, including the Python string, etc. Collection of elements is called an list. Collection of elements is called tuple. Likewise here the for loop is also to from a the for loop is also used to elements from a container. Here for example we are using the list string tuple by using the built-in function range. Here we are using this range function used in for loop only. Here by using this is the built-in function. Built-in function means already predefined function. This is the syntax for variable name in sequence. For variable name in sequence, statement 1, statement 2, so on. Name in sequence, statement 2, so on. This is the for loop. This is the syntax of the for loop. Next is in the syntax we are having variable here in this variable name. Variable name means it indicates the target name. It indicates the target variable which will set a new value for each iteration of the loop. Here sequence. What is sequence means? Here a sequence of values that will be assigned to the target value variable name. Here values are provided by using a list or string or from the built-in function range. Here. Here this block of program statement. This statement is 1, statement 2 means block of statements. Here in this. Here while loop. What is the disadvantage in the while loop means? In the while loop it is provides a mechanism to repeat until a particular condition is true. Here the for loop is usually known as the definite loop because the programmer knows exactly how many times the loop will be repeated. The number of times the loop has to be executed can be determined mathematically checking the logic of the loop. Means here in this for loop, how many times the loop will be, the programmer knows exactly how many times the loop will be repeated. Repeat. The number of times the loop will be executed determined mathematically checking the logic of the loop. Here the first statement, the for in statement is a looping statement is used in Python to iterate over a sequence of objects here. Here the example here, the syntax is for sequence in sequence statement 1, statement 2 like that. That is the syntax. Next, this is the example of the here. This is the example of the for loop. Here example, the list has 4 elements. Indices start at 0 and our program is list as what here. Why we gave name here list? Here list means the collection of elements is called list. The collection of elements is called a list. That list is represented by square brackets here. The list is represented by the square brackets here. Here I gave here for example color list equal to red, blue, green, black. The red, blue, green, black, that is the color list here. For C, here I take the C is the sequence. Sequence means C is a variable I take likewise I. Here for C in the variable name here. For C in this list, color list, already we know in color list we are having red, green, blue. Red, green, blue, black. Here print C. Here print C means for C color list. In this color list we are having these types of 4 types of colors here. 4 types of colors in C. Have to print the C value means you got the output red, blue, green, black. Red, blue, green, black. These are the you have to indices the start from 0 and at 3. 0, 1, 2, 3. 0, 1, 2, 3. Color list of 0. In that 0 we got the red value. Next color list of 1 we got the value blue. Next 2 in the 2 green. Next we got the 0. Next 3 black. Likewise the for loop is used like that. That is sequence of elements. Next is the when a loop is used. Here when a for loop is used, the range of sequence is specified. Range of sequence is specified. Range of sequence is specified in the for loop. The items of the sequence is assigned to the loop control one after the other. Here the for loop is executed for each item in sequence here. Here for example here in this Python programming language for loop, Python for loop and range function. Here the range function used in Python for loop only. Python for loop. Here the range function returns a list of consecutive integers. List of consecutive. This function returns a list of consecutive integers. That's why we are using the range function here. That's why we are using the range function. Here, for example, here the function has 1, 2, or 3 parameters. 1, 2, or 3 parameters. Where last 2 parameters are optional. Where last 2 parameters are optional. Here it is widely used in for loops only. Here the range function is used in for loops only. It is widely used in for loops only. Here, what is the syntax means here? This is the syntax range of A comma B, range of A comma B comma C. 1 parameter, 2 parameter, 3 parameters. This is the syntax for the range function. Range of A comma B, next range of A comma B comma C. 3 parameters. Next. First, range of A. Range of A means that it generates a sequence of numbers from 0 to A. 0 to A, excluding A. Increment by 1. Increment by 1. It generates a sequence of numbers from 0 to A. For example, here for that is a syntax means for variable in range of number. For variable in range of number. This is the syntax for range of A. Only we give the one parameter here. Here, for example, for A in range of 4. For A in range of 4. We give the range of 4. Means we take in C language also initially you take 0. Initially we take the 0. That's like here print A. A print. Means we got the 0 to 3. Up to 0 to 3. 0 to 3. Is the use of the range of parameter. Next, we got the 2 parameters, range of A comma B. Range of A comma B. Here it generates a sequence of numbers from A to B. A to B, excluding B is incrementing by 1. Excluding B is incrementing by 1. That is the use. Here for what is the syntax of this function range A comma B means for variable in range, for variable in range start number comma end number. Start number comma end number. A is the start number, B is the end number. A is the start number, B is the end number. For example, for A in range 2 comma 7. For example, we take the for A in range 2 comma 7. We give the start number 2. Up to end number is 7. Means before the 2 to 7. 2 to 7 the values will be printed. Print. Output is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Up to 2 to 7. Means 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The values will be printed like this. First parameter is start number. B parameter is end number. Means up to A to B. Next, we give the parameters range A comma B comma C. We give the parameters A comma B comma C. Here we generate a sequence of numbers A to B excluding B incrementing by C. Incrementing by C. Here we give the A in range. We give the A in range 2, B 19, C 5. C 5. Here from A to B excluding B incrementing by C. Incrementing by C. Print A. How we get the output like this means here A equal to first initially A equal to 2. A equal to 2. Have to give the numbers C from numbers from A to B excluding B, not incrementing by C means 2 plus 5. We got the 7. We got the 7. Next 7 plus 12. Next 12 plus 5, 17. Up to before 19, we have to print the values. Initially 2 up to values 19, but have to increment the value is C. Have to increment the value C means 2 plus 7. Next 7 plus 5, 12. Next 12 plus 5, 17. Likewise, we have to increment the values like this by using these three parameters. One parameter, range of one parameter, range of two parameters, range of three parameters. Likewise, you have to use the range function for loop. For another example, you take the program to count the number of even and odd numbers from a series of numbers. Here, numbers equal to 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You have to program to count the numbers of even and odd numbers from a series of numbers. Means, for example, we take in these numbers, I gave these numbers 1 to 9. Here, what is meant by tuple? Declare a tuple. Tuple also, it is a collection of elements of same data. It is represented by parentheses. It is represented by like this. It is represented by this brackets. List is collection of elements. List is collection of elements. It is represented as square brackets. Tuple. It is also a collection of elements. It is represented by this brackets. Here, next this parenthesis. Next here, count odd equal to 0. I gave here count odd, initial count odd equal to 0, count even equal to 0. Here already we know about count even numbers. How to find out the even numbers? We already know this x% 2, if x% 2. Here for x in numbers, here x you take these numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Here means for 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 0 to 8. Here for 0 value is 1. For 1% 2 means 1% 2. Got the condition is true. The condition is true. Have to add this number. The condition become false. We go for this. Even plus 1. Like this, we have to got the numbers. Here number of even numbers, we count even count. In this numbers, how many even numbers are there? 2, 4, 6, 8, 4. Next, odd numbers. 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. These are 5 numbers. Like this, you have to count the number of even and odd numbers from a series of numbers. This is the example program by using the for loop. Next. In this for loop, three beginning, ending, and step. These are three range functions: one parameter, two parameters, and three parameters. About the three parameters. Next. In this here, next point here, pre-test loop and test loop means here while in an entry loop and test loop. Here there is loop starts and exit control loop. Of the loop is executed. Here, if the condition is not set in entry control loop, then the loop will be never execute. Here, in case of post test, the body of the loop is executed unconditionally. The loop is executed unconditionally for the first time. Here, if we have to have a pre-test loop, then choose for loop. You need to have a post test loop. We choose while loop. You have to choose while loop here. Here, pre-test loop means you have to choose the for loop. For next, we have to need post test loop. We have to choose while loop. That is about the these loops. Means Python programming. Iterative statements are repetitive statements are looping statements. We are having in Python programming language, we are having only two types of statements. What are the two types of statements? First, for loop statement, for loop, and next while loop. For loop and while loop.